All right, so since I very often see things or kind of notice things or whatever, um, and just kind of see things coming before they happen, a lot of times I have a chance to kind of analyze what I feel is something they're trying to make happen or facilitate or whatever. And I'm going to say they very loosely because we're talking about different parties, different factions, different countries, or whatever, that are all involved in our politics and trying to mess with us. So very loose they, but basically anyone who could see an attack coming because maybe they're planning it, or maybe they see that that's very likely going to happen, whatever. They're using their pre-crime AI technology or whatever. Or it's maybe just somebody like me that, I'm just seeing all the pieces come together and seeing that's very likely to occur if nobody does anything about it. Okay? So I'm not going to go into what I feel like authorities do when they are seeing the same thing and being told the same thing. But what I want to look at is the who done it, right? Whenever we have a terrorist attack or any type of thing like that, we have to keep in mind really that it's all about having a political effect. That's why things happen very often is for the political effect. Okay. Now that can be seen from different aspects. Let's say something happened and it wasn't on their radar, but the political effect is, they're just gonna put it on national news to distract from something, but they had nothing to do with it. That's different. That's not what I'm talking about, really. I'm talking about they see an attack coming and either do nothing about it or try to facilitate it happening and stop the side that's trying to stop it from happening. So that's what I'm talking about is this back and forth, okay? And very often it's going to be across political lines. The right, if they're going to take the political hit from it, then they would be inclined to try to stop it. Okay, if the left is going to take the political hit, then they would be inclined to stop it. But another part I want to kind of examine from this is if both sides are going to be hurt from the attack because one's attacked and one gets blamed, then why would any of us fall into believing that one side did it or facilitated it? And maybe that has to do with a third party trying to spark right versus left. So very often when something like this happens, the news media will automatically sensationalize it to blame the side that appears to be the one who did it. But what I want to look at is, did they actually facilitate some kind of attack that's going to make them look like the bad guy and take a political hit for it? And if you reverse that, did the side that was mortally wounded from the attack facilitate the attack on themselves in order to have that attack be blamed on the other side? Or is the more likely, or is it a situation where whoever facilitated it and wanted to happen maybe wanted to damage both sides and maybe wanted to spark right versus left hate against again and get people you know, at each other's throats again. Okay? So that's something I feel like very often it's not our initial thought. Very often our initial thought is to blame the side that appears to be the one that did it. And it's always this fanatical person that did it, right? They were just out of their mind. They didn't know what they were doing, right? And, you know, the inclination is always, you know, to kind of ignore the whole thing. I say it's the elephant in the room. The whole thing that how would terrorist attacks or any attacks happen when they have this kind of surveillance system? When they can see something that's going to happen before it happens? How would anything happen in that kind of environment? Unless somebody in power maybe wanted it to happen, okay? You can't have that kind of total control and then just be, oh, we don't know where it came from. And everybody else was seeing it coming miles away. That's pretty much bullshit. So basically where I'm going with this is that this whole assumption of let's just listen to what the so-called experts on the freaking media channels tell us about who did it and their motivations, and maybe consider that the whole framing of it is part of it as well. That they're just going to kind of push us along to just assume what appears to be obvious rather than look at who in their pre-crime whatever and all these different factions were letting it happen and wanted it to happen, or encouraged it somehow or other, covered it up, tried to prevent law enforcement from stopping it, the law enforcement that maybe would be on the side that would be damaged from it, right? So all these factors, we're just not supposed to pay attention to those factors. But I feel like we're getting to the point where when they just come out and tell us straight out that, oh, they're going to use pre-crime to decide who's going to be a terrorist before they ever do anything, then we're past the point where we could just imagine that they don't know what attack's going to be, right? I feel like we're past that point, and if we're past the point where we're just imagining they don't know something's going to happen, we would need to be looking at who actually benefit from, who actually benefited from whatever was allowed to happen, and have that be the assumption that somebody freaking allowed it to happen. And that's not always going to be the authorities. I'm just going to add that because as I kind of analyzed in my other recordings, very often it's a war between factions that are trying to stop it and trying to facilitate it. So the result is one of those factions is going to win and one isn't, okay? But then how they sell it to us is, and what we believe from what they try to sell to us, that's what's really important. Because when we believe the lie that they try to sell, then we give them the political win, which was behind the attack in the first place, or attempted attack.